More breaking news coming in, viewers. Israeli military says it has killed Lebanon's Hezbollah chief Naim Qassem. No confirmation has been received from the group yet. Hezbollah named Qassem, who had been a senior figure in the group for more than 30 years, as its new chief a month after Nasrallah's killing. His death, if confirmed by Hezbollah, deals another big blow to the armed group and to Tehran, as it is one of Iran's main allies in the Middle East. And by attacking Israel on March 2nd, Hezbollah entered the war in the region on Iran's side 2 days after the US and Israel began airstrikes against Iran. Now, Hezbollah attacked Israel after Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei was killed on the first day of the war. Israel said it would respond forcefully and has since carried out airstrikes that have killed more than 1,000 people. Israel has already weakened the group's military capabilities and hammered it with a series of assassinations since the Gaza war began on October 7, 2023, and despite a US-backed ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon in 2024, after more than a year of fighting, Israel has carried out regular strikes against what it has identified as Hezbollah targets in Lebanon. And now Hezbollah chief has been eliminated. This is what the IDF is claiming. And it has also accused Hezbollah of seeking to rearm its militants. And Hezbollah refused to disarm under a US proposal aimed at extending the ceasefire. In fact, Qassem even threatened Israel, directly saying missiles would fall on it if it resumed a broad war on Lebanon. This is the latest that we are picking up from West Asia. Naim Qassem, Hezbollah chief, has been eliminated according to IDF. Hezbollah chief has been eliminated after a 2-week war, but this has not been confirmed yet by Hezbollah. But IDF claims that Hezbollah's chief, Naim Qassem, has been killed in the latest strikes. And Israel's offensive comes even as a 2-week ceasefire is in place between Iran and the US. In fact, Pakistan's Prime Minister had even announced that Lebanon will be also part of the ceasefire, but Israel has been adamant on keeping Lebanon out of the ceasefire deal. And IDF continues to operate in Hezbollah-dominated areas with more military operations and even airstrikes. And now the latest airstrike has killed Naim Qassem, one of the Hezbollah chiefs. He has been completely eliminated. This is what the Israeli Defense Forces are claiming, but nothing yet from Hezbollah itself. Because this is the big breaking news that we're tracking at the moment. Israeli Defense Forces have claimed that it has killed Naim Qassem, a figure who recently stepped into the top role after the killing of Hassan Nasrallah. And yet the absence of a confirmation from Hezbollah leaves the situation, suspended between IDF's claims and also the real story on ground zero. We have our deputy output editor, Sneha Koshi, joining us live on the phone line. Sneha, this is a big blow to Hezbollah. The chief, Naim Qassem, has been eliminated according to the IDF. What else are we picking up?
Deepak, so these are the barrage of attacks that have been going on. In fact, Israel had made it very clear that the ceasefire does not include Israel's targeting attacks at Lebanon, particularly Hezbollah, and that is something that Israel had made very clear. This, of course, with the fact that Hezbollah had welcomed the ceasefire, but nonetheless, the attacks have continued, and now IDF making a very strong claim that the Deputy Secretary General of the terror organization Hezbollah has been killed. Naim Qassem has been killed. That's something that Israel is claiming at this point. The IDF is claiming, and remember, this comes just possibly days after Israel Quds had made this very public, that the next person that Israel will be targeting will be Naim Qassem, who is the chief of Hezbollah. Now, this comes even as the IDF had struck and killed Ali Yusuf Karshi, who is a personal secretary of the Secretary General of Terror of Hezbollah, for that matter, and the nephew of Naim Qassem. So this is a second top-rung leader of Hezbollah who has been killed in a matter of 48 hours. And what we are picking up at this time is that the two that is Karshi, was a very strong confidant of Naim Qassem, who has been, according to IDF, been killed. At this point, we do not have any response or statement from Hezbollah at this point. But the targeted attacks on Lebanon are continuing. These targeted attacks, Israel claims, is against the terror organization, the terror or the terror leadership of Hezbollah, and that there are two very critical public crossings that have been targeted overnight by IDF, and one of the big leaders that seem to be eliminated at this point is the Hezbollah chief, Naim Qassem.
Also, Sneha, just like how IDF wanted to eliminate or completely wipe out Hamas, do you think that IDF will wind down its operations given the fact that Qassem has now been eliminated, Hezbollah chief has been eliminated, or will the operations continue in Lebanon?
I think, Deepak, what is important to understand is the pattern about how Israel for a very long time has been targeting Hezbollah. It's been very concerted in its efforts of building up the attacks against Lebanon and Hezbollah for that matter. So whether it be Naim Qassem who has been killed, we'll also have to see about how Hezbollah functions after that. At this point, Hezbollah chief has been killed. That's Qassem at this point, who has been killed. But we'll have to see how much of the operations do really continue, how much of its functionality stays, how much of its storage of weapons continue to function in that manner, and that, I guess, would decide how IDF would continue. But Israel has made it very clear it is not going to stop its attacks on the targeted attacks on Hezbollah.
Sneha, tell us about the ceasefire. What happens to the ceasefire? Because Pakistan had clearly stated that Lebanon is also, in the ceasefire agreement, that no operations must be carried out. But Israel has said that Lebanon must be kept out. So what really happens? And now you have the Iran ambassador deleting the post of Iranian, delegation arriving in Islamabad tonight.
Well, Deepak, this is going to be very interesting because, I think Pakistan has been able to, in a way, at least bring people to the table for talks. And it was necessary for Pakistan's existence because of its Muslim population and how the Muslim population, what constitutes the Muslim population in Pakistan. So for its own existence and identity, that was also very important for very different reasons, and it was not just about Pakistan's diplomatic work. But nonetheless, this is going to be a huge challenge because while U.S. Has agreed to terms, there's violations of ceasefire, according to Iran, from Israel, because of which Hormuz has been blocked again. U.S. has escalated, saying that if Hormuz is not opened, then they will start the attacks all over again. All of this is happening just hours before what was scheduled to be the talks, the peace talks, the ceasefire talks to give final shape to it, for which a ceasefire has been announced by the U.S. for 2 weeks. It's between all of this that we have got to know how Iranian ambassador to Pakistan has deleted his post about Iran delegation being present in Pakistan or visiting Pakistan later today for the peace talks. What does that signal? Does this mean Iran is pulling out of talks? Does this mean that there's a dead wall behind these talks that are going to happen, even as now you have Hezbollah chief having been killed? And both Hezbollah, that is both Lebanon and Israel, both of them being very important aspects of the ceasefire, part of these talks. Remember, within Lebanon also, people are very upset. Within Lebanon also, people are very upset that Hezbollah has dragged Lebanon into a war that was really not Lebanon. So there seems to be anger within Lebanon as well. How much of this really comes out, spills onto the peace talks, onto the round table, that's something that we'll have to wait and see whether that happens as well. Very, very important juncture at this point. And of course, the world, Deepak, is really looking on because it's not just one nation's war, it's not just two nations' war. This includes some very strategic resources, some very strategic pathways for which even countries now are going to be paying dollars for movement, but we really don't know at this point whether there's going to be an escalation all over again.